So welcome to our Thursday community meeting. It's April 18th, 4 p.m. Eastern time. I want to say thank you everybody that was able to make it in for this meeting, and or if you're catching it afterwards on YouTube, welcome. I have a few slides I'm going to go through, but I do have some exciting things to also talk about. A quick demo of a new repository, but yeah, this is our community meeting for April 18th, 2024. So welcome to the Tech Hustle community meeting. My name is Bobby Dorless, and I'm an engineer that's been in the field of engineering for a number of years, more than 20 years now. We also have my guy D Hustle. It looks like he's on the line. What's up, D Hustle? How's everything?
Everything's good. Everything's good. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you. And then we got my man Raymond. Don't call him Ray Ray. Looks like he's not available, but definitely want to send out some big shout outs to him, the third member of our crew. And we are the Tech Hustle. We are a community of like-minded engineers that are here to uplift, motivate, and inspire the next generation. And this is our community meeting. Just like this image here, we really are focused on creating an environment where we all feel included. A very diverse group of individuals that are really interested in the field of engineering and technology. And that's what the Tech Hustle is really, really under in terms of our mission and transforming the landscape of tech. We are really focused on community empowerment and education because we want to become a compass and guidance for those that feel like they don't have anybody that look like them or reflect as them, but more specifically developing those skill sets. And that's who the Tech Hustle is. If you're not already on our website, the website is thetechhustle.com so that you can get some more details and also join our community. Our website does have some more context around our premium services, some educational workshops that we offer. And then if you didn't know, we have the #1 diverse tech podcast in the world. Yeah, I said it, #1, where you can check out our audio version, but we also are on YouTube. So definitely check out our YouTube channel. And I'll click that button here just to pull it up. Most of our content is video-based nowadays, but our older content is audio-based, but you can definitely catch all of that either on YouTube or on our pod or on our YouTube channel or in other platforms. Sorry for the mix. And the cool thing about us is that we run a really cool online community. It's a tech community hosted on a platform called School. There's a link on our website, and I'll go back to our website and I'll scroll up to the top that you can join our community by clicking this button here. Now, more or less, our community is where you will be joining other individuals that are really looking to develop skills around engineering and definitely, building a community of people that look like you, that are on the same path in the journey as you. And definitely, I want to encourage everyone to get involved because one of the cool things about our community is that we really do take our community members' challenges, experiences, or even what they want to work on the most to heart. The next section of this community conversation is a post that came up. One more slide. A post that came up in our community from one of our members. His name is Brandon. So big shout outs to Brandon for feeling comfortable and confident enough to write down where he's at in his journey and definitely looking for support. He's currently at the beginning of his phase of learning Python and wants to work on a project. The cool thing about joining our community is that you get access to somebody like me that really enjoys writing code and really enjoys helping teaching, interested people on how to develop certain skills. And definitely this is something that popped up when we were talking with Brandon about this in our community chat or our community board on School. And one of the things that I think a lot of newer members may not be aware of, especially if you go and check out the chat conversation. So I'm going back to the main page and I'm going straight to his conversation just so that you can see some of the correspondence back is whenever in our community and you're chatting up, definitely looking for advice and support. You can see how very active we are. So big shout outs to D Hustle, jumping in the conversation. And then you can see me actually throwing out some ideas on how we could, as a community, start to work on such a problem and or work on a project to help not just develop Brandon's skills, but other people's skills, because it looks like there's other people that are interested. So just to kind of give you like a roundabout of like how we work in this community is, we don't just take questions or things that are posted on the board as just, community conversation, but we actually use this as an opportunity for us to find a solution or find help for you to actually develop the skills. So just to show you, one of the things that I did inside of this post here is I actually replied it back to Brandon. And I said, hey, check out this YouTube video about another really, interesting person on YouTube talking about how to develop a skill around data engineering, which is foundational what this post is. And let's take a listen to what I sent over and recommended for us to potentially work on. So let's take a quick listen here. I wonder if this is going to play through. So
Nope, can't hear anything.
oh, you can't hear anything? All right, sorry about that, audience. Give me 1 second. Let me stop my sharing, re-enable sharing, but there's this checkbox that you have to check that says share sound. And then you kind of can share, and you know what? Let's see if it comes through this time. Let's give another try.
Breaking into data engineering can be 100% free and 100% project-based. Here are the steps. 1, find a data source that you care about via a REST API. Maybe this is like the stock market or Pokemon or sports data or whatever. 2, write a Python script that reads that REST data and then initially dumps it to a CSV. Step 3, set up a Snowflake or BigQuery account. You can get a free trial, and then update your script to, instead of dumping to CSV, dump it to Snowflake or BigQuery. And then step 4, set up an astronomer account, which would then allow you to automate this ingest so that you can have it run on a daily, hourly, whatever sort of cadence. And once you have done all those things, I would say the last step would be to add data quality checks. So there's this thing called Great Expectations, or even your own basic quality checks around like duplicates and stuff like that. I would add that in as the final step. So yeah, data engineering is a great field. If you like this content, follow for more.
That's awesome, right? And if you just think about what Jim was just given there by this YouTuber, and I'll definitely include his link inside of our descriptions because he definitely has some really good content after I followed up and checked up on him. But more specifically, just like the title says, it says breaking into data engineering can be 100% free and 100% project based. And the main thing that I'm really driving from the conversation that was put on the table by Brandon is like, hey, what if we were to create this same project and start to use this as a way for our community members to develop a skill around data engineering? And as soon as I start to throw that out there, it definitely looks like there are some more members of our community that are really interested in developing this. And big shout outs to Omar for commenting on this comment here, but definitely showing interest in terms of developing the skill. And I guess the thing that I'm not sure if you all see in terms of my message here, where I say, hey, since this is a great idea, let's make this actionable as a community. If you're up for it, let's waiting. I'm more or less waiting for a pull request. I created a GitHub repository that actually allows us in this community to develop. So if I just check out the GitHub real quick, and if you're not familiar with GitHub, I would highly encourage you to, number one, check out GitHub, join our community, get some more resources around GitHub because we definitely have them already in our community, but more specifically, checking out our project on GitHub called The Tech Hustle. So if you go to github.com/The Tech Hustle, you'll see all of these open source projects that we're actively working on. And the one that we're going to be talking about, we have it called Launchpad to Data Engineering. If I click on that, you'll see that it's definitely a program written in Python because there's a main.py. It doesn't look like it has much, but I purposely did it this way because this is where we're going to be working together. So this project itself basically takes that YouTube and makes it more actionable on the things that we want to build and what we want to do. So this is welcome to an open source project aimed to fostering practical data engineering skills. This project is inspired by approach of breaking into data engineering with zero cost and a focus on hands-on project, right? This project outlines a step-by-step approach to building a data engineering pipeline, from sourcing data to implementing quality checks. We focus on practical project-based learning to equip you for the skills you need to excel in the field of data engineering. And what I'm reading here right now, if you're not familiar with it, is a README file for a project that's open source, meaning that anybody in our community or anybody on the internet can check out this same code base and actually contribute to this project also. Because what are we going to be building in this project? We're going to be building a Python script that fetches data from a RESTful API. We're going to process this data and dump it into CSV. And we're going to either use Snowflake or BigQuery for us to, pipe data from the CSV into a more structured platform, automating the pipeline, and then doing data quality. And that's what we'll be doing in this open source project, right? And where are we at in terms of getting things started? We are basically at the beginning of developing this project itself. There is a section down a little bit further that I would highly encourage you to read in terms of making contributions, because we are looking for contributors, not only in our community, but if you stumble upon this and you feel comfortable enough contributing, definitely check us out. We want you to more or less fork the repository, create a pull request, and then have the code reviewed by myself or any other person in the community. Definitely getting your code merged into the main branch. Now, what does the code look like in its current form? That's a very interesting question. So if I go up here to the main.py file, which is where the code will start at, you'll notice that we have just a very simple implementation because we're building this together as a community, right? So this main function is going to be where all of our code is going to reside. Either we're going to, or actually, let me rephrase that, where our code entry point will be in this main function, and then we will add more pieces as we grow together, right? And you'll see that this function here, it just said this is a placeholder for fetching data from a RESTful API, replace this code and process your chosen data source. But more or less, we're using this as a placeholder so the community can build it together. And I guess TLDR, and what I'm getting to is that by joining the Tech Hustle community, you are getting access to being able to work on projects together, not just with myself, but with other members in the community. And we've already started it off by kicking off one of our first open source projects, which is called Launch to Data Engineering, where we're really focusing on developing Python skills, but also data engineering skills for your next journey, next career path.
Breaking
right?
into
Sorry about that. There is another slide. You know what? It's 2 slides back. I apologize. Now, outside of just learning through, work, or not learning, but working on code together, some other really great resources we have here in the community is around developing skills or upskilling in areas that you may need to improve in. From IT fundamentals, as soon as you join the community, you have access to that, to tech interviewing handbooks, learning Linux, learning cloud, and learning Python. Those, as you're increasing your levels in our community, you'll get more access to them. But in general, I just wanted to let you know that by joining our community, you have access to these great resources. And I'm only looking forward to having you all join. And this is our free part of the community. Now, just to mention and put a plug in there for our premium community, I definitely want to let you know that access to our premium services only gets you more access to myself and other members of the organization, but we do have more support for you in terms of developing skills. Because I know that there are going to be some people that are like, hey, I'm really interested in joining and support this project, but I still need some support in developing certain skills. That's going to be where you're going to be joining our premium services, so you can get that more hands-on office hours and also development resources available through our premium services. If you are interested in our premium services, you'll just go back to our website here, and here goes the link right here for our premium membership, which lists off all the services that comes with it. All right. And the next thing I wanted to open up for, I believe, is questions. We've gotten to the end. If we don't have any questions,
breaking into data engineering can be 100.
Oh my gosh, there we go. If we don't have any questions, I do have a demo that I want to go through, showing off some command lines and some arguments that you'll use to check out that repository, because I do feel like there's some members of our community that needs that. But before I do that and get to the command line and start to type some commands, I want to know if there's any questions on the table before I go to our second part of our community meeting here. Any questions at all? Actually, a question just came in on the side. Someone asked a question about our meeting time. Awesome. So before I get to the thank you here, I do want to go back to our community post here. Let me click here. And the end of last week, I put out a post, and I'm scrolling out to the top, about the week's worth of things that we've had going on, our numbers in terms of the amount of community members, but more specifically, there was a question that came up about our meeting time, which currently is on Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. And the question came in saying, hey, have we made a decision on our new meeting time? And if so, what options do we have? Or is it something that hasn't been decided yet? Okay, so more or less the answer to this question is yes, our community has brought to our attention here, the team at Tech Hustle, that our timing for our meeting, it does overlap with people's 9 to 5. And we are definitely open to this idea of making the space more available, especially for people that are 9 to 5, and definitely don't want to take it away. So there was really no reason why we chose this time slot other than our availability. And I definitely appreciate our community coming to this point where we're ready to iterate more or less like, hey, let's look at this meeting time and see if we can find a better time. So these are the time slots that we have on the table right now and considering adjusting to. Tuesday, 6 p.m., Wednesday, either 6 or 7 p.m., or Thursday, either 6 or 7 p.m. I will have another community message that comes out at the end of this week, which we're going to narrow it down to 3 options, because we definitely do have some votes that come in, but we need a little bit more narrowing down of the time slots. So tune in to our Friday post, which will happen tomorrow evening, on the latest updates in the time slots, because we're going to narrow this down from 6 down to 3 time slots. And again, for those that are inquiring about, our meeting time, we're definitely going to be adjusting our meeting time so that we can get more participants and accommodate those that do have 9 to 5s. I hope all of you have 9 to 5s. If not, welcome to our community. We'll get you a 9 to 5. But we're going to be narrowing it down from these 6 time slots to 3 in the next post, and definitely find a space that's more feasible for all of our parties and all the members. So definitely stay tuned and we will be narrowing it down. Thank you so much for that question. All right, any other questions on the table before I jump into a little bit of a demo for the next 5 to 10 minutes, checking out our GitHub repository? Any other questions? All right, I guess there's no questions. So what I want to do for this next portion of our community meeting is to actually get at the keyboard and type in some commands. I'm looking for my terminal so we can at least start from there. And what we're going to do is we have a new GitHub repository that I want to check out, and more or less just walk through the process of checking out code and then submitting a pull request so that everybody feel comfortable of working on this very first project that we have here in the community, and definitely just more or less help you all develop some skills as you're learning. So just to take 2 steps back, what we're looking at right now is a terminal. I use iTerm is the tool that I use the most to access my terminal, but more specifically, I want you all to get comfortable working in a terminal. I know that most of you may already work in an IDE that gives you access to the terminal, but just know that I'm one of those old school engineers that this is my main interface, and this is what I've used all my life working on Linux machines. So let me click around real quick and let me go get the link for us to check out the code for this repository. So I'm just going to go grab the clone link here. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to quickly just check out our new repository called Launchpad to Data Engineering. And if you didn't get a chance to hear me talk about it, this is just a project that we're going to be working on internally here as a community, and it's only at the beginning phase. So this is a great time for you to get acclimated with certain tools and also getting something published out in the open source space here at the Tech Hustle. So to first start off, you want to first go into your working directory. For me, my development working directory actually called dev. You'll notice that I have a few directories listed here for all the GitHub repositories or my local repositories that I'm working on. But more specifically, we're going to start off with the command called git checkout, or actually, I'm sorry, git clone. And we're going to clone that repository that I mysteriously made go away. Let me see if I can get it back. All right, let me copy it back over. I apologize. So inside GitHub, there's a link that tells you where to fetch your repository and also this project, which is called Launchpad to Data Engineering. And if I do a git clone, you'll notice that it actually clones this repository into a directory called Launchpad to Data. and then you can see the step that it takes to actually fetch the objects from that repository. So I'm going to cd into this directory here, and if I just do an ls, it should be only just a few files. It has our license file, it has our README file, and then it also has our main.py file, and also a requirements file. If you're not familiar with Python, most Python modules, programs, software that you can develop, you're going to have some type of libraries, and the requirements file is where you actually store the names of the libraries that you need for this software to work. But we're not going to go too much into that, but it's just the files that are there. And one of the first things that I usually do whenever I'm working in a repository that I check out is, number one, is to create a branch. Now, I know that some of you might not know what that means, and definitely want to encourage you to check out our community because we have a few posts around GitHub and how to use it. And actually, before we get off, I'll make sure I search for it, is to learn how to use branches, commits, adding files, and ultimately maneuvering with this tool called Git. If you're a software engineer, you use it on a daily basis. If you're becoming a software engineer, you better start using it on a daily basis because you're going to have to get familiar with it. But one of the cool commands that you have in Git is to git checkout -b for the branch. And then I usually name my branch my name, b doorless, and then whatever I'm doing here, which is test1. This is just a test branch. And you'll notice in my terminal here that now it says that I'm in a different branch versus was it branch. I hope my microphone is still working because it sounds like my AirPods just went off, but definitely give me a thumbs up if you can still hear me in the chat. Or just...
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Dean. All right, so you'll notice that we are in a different branch right now. And remember, branches themselves are workspace for you to work on individually, and any changes that I do inside my branch here, I want to eventually get it into the main branch, right? But because I'm here into my branch, and if I do a git branch, I think it will, yep, it'll list all the branches that I have available inside of this repository here. So there's a main branch, and then this is the new branch that I'm working on. You'll notice that I'm in Bobby, and if I want to go back to main, I do git checkout main, right? And then you'll notice that now I'm in the main branch, but then I'll do git branch, and then you'll see it also highlighting that I'm in the main branch, and then these are the branches that are available. But my thing is that I want to actually make a commit into this open source project. And the commit that I want to make to is I'm actually going to change the README file because there's something at the top of the README file that I want to remove. This line here that says add by Bobby, right? Actually, I want to delete it. What we're looking at right now is an application called VI. It's a terminal or an IDE, or it's an IDE for the terminal. It's by far one of the older IDEs that we have in Linux. I highly recommend you to be familiar with some of the basic commands, but more or less, this is probably a little bit of old school for those that are using newer interfaces. But yeah, definitely be familiar with VI just a little bit. All right, so we made some changes in this file, and if I do git status, you'll notice that the git status reports that this file has been modified. And if I want to see what's been modified, I can do a git diff. Right? And then git diff basically tells me the differences between what the file was and then what the file is now. Looks like we had, I'm sorry, this is what the file was, and then this is what the file has now. Looks like we removed a line, which is that line that says added by Bobby. All right? Now that I have this git status and I have a file change, it tells you up here what you need to do. You need to update to a commit, or we can go ahead and use the add and commit command to just add that change to our local repository. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to say git commit -add, and I'm actually going to also include the message, basically the message of what we're doing. Removing a line from the README file, right? And now it shows that that line has been removed, or the commit log of what has been changed. So if I do a command called git log, you'll notice that inside of here, at the top of this, there goes that line that I just removed, right? It has a timestamp of when it was removed. It has the person that's removed it. And then in terms of git commands or git information, this is the commit log itself. So this line right here has the data that shows what was changed and what has been removed, right?
So definitely a few commands to get familiar with, but what I want to do is I want to do a git push. So I'm basically want to push this change to GitHub, but I'm going to run into an error, and it's not anything for you to be wary of, because it's basically telling you that you need to add some more arguments to your git push, right? I actually want to set the upstream to original and then push this branch out. So what I'm doing is taking bdoorless./test, and I'm pushing that whole branch to the GitHub repository. And you'll notice that as soon as I do this, copy and paste that, it should generate a link that tells me, here goes my pull request. You'll see some information right here. You can kind of ignore this, but the main thing I'm looking for is this remote execution command right here. It says create a git pull for this branch by visiting this link right here. And if I open up that link in my browser, how do I easily switch here? Let me switch, I'll stop, and I will switch this way. I'm gonna go back to here and open up this link here. You'll notice that, I need to log in first. That sucks. So hopefully I can get in, we'll see. Come on, let's see, I might have to do, hold on, let me authenticate real quick. I apologize. You know how demos are supposed to only run smoothly and then they always have something that pops up. So let me authenticate it on my phone. Oh. Boy. Approved. Let's see, there we go. All right, there we go. So here goes my pull request, and sorry for that little delay. So what happened? So we basically changed some code in our terminal locally in our repository, and then I said, hey, go and push that code to GitHub. And pushing that code or pull request itself is basically what's in the queue right now. So I'm saying, hey, I want to remove this file, remove a line from a file. I got to add some more description, just updating the file with the removal of a line that had my name, right? And now the next thing is if I scroll down, you can see this button that says ready to create pull requests. All right, let's see what other options they have. So we can create a pull request as a draft. Basically, don't tell anybody about it because I'm still working on it. Or I can say, hey, I'm ready for a request for another member in our group to take a look at it. So if I do generate pull requests, you'll start to see a few things going on. But the main thing is up here at the top, you'll notice that all of you, if you do have access to this project, you can go check it right now. You'll see that there is a pull request pending for someone to approve, right? Before I actually did that, this was not listed here, but now it's actually listed there. So one of our members would definitely take a look at it. Some community member will read this comment here, just removing a file. Oh, let me see what the change is. They can actually click on that SHA link right there, and then you can see that it's removing this item. Oh, that looks like it's really good. Or I can add a comment. I can say, hey, please don't remove this. This is needed for other reasons. But there is no reason for us to block this change, right? So we can just say, submit and review change. That means everything is ready for commit. Oh, I'm sorry, what did I say? No, I didn't want to add a comment. I apologize. I clicked the wrong thing. Go all the way back here. Go to commit. Let's go to commit here. Where am I doing Bobby D? Let's see. Comment. Here we go. We're back to this. All right, here goes the commit itself. Since this commit doesn't really require approval, we can go ahead and just merge it into the branch. So we'll just say merge, we'll confirm it, saying that we're ready for the commit. And if you'll notice, number one, the pull request is off the list. It's in the list closed here. But if we go and check the code itself, we'll notice that the README file now does not have that top line that had Bobby D. And we'll just look at the code itself rather than the raw file or the markdown file. You'll see that line number one basically has that, right? Now, that means our change has been committed and you've just made a contribution to the open source project. So I know that it may have seemed a little bit of like, what is he doing? Why is he clicking on this? Why is he clicking there? But the key thing here in this process here is that number one, you're checking out the code locally, you're working on a branch, and then you're eventually merging it into the main branch. So now that I've done this or merged into the main branch, I can check out main branch, right? And I'm just going to do a clear screen. So we start at the top, and then I'm going to do a git pull. What I'm imagining that's going to happen is that now my main branch is going to get updated with that change that was introduced. Because if I look at this file, and head is the command, head means read the top of the file, read the top of the README file, you'll see that Bobby is still listed there, right? But now if I do a git pull, basically go fetch all the latest information out there, and then I execute that same command, head the top of the file called readme.markdown, and you'll notice that that's been removed. That means that that change has been merged into the main branch, and now whoever's the next engineer that wants to come and work, on our project, gonna have the latest and updated version of the file. So that is the process itself of merging or checking out a branch, or actually checking out a repository, cloning a repository, checking out a branch, doing a pull request, submitting the pull request to GitHub, having somebody review it, approve it, and then getting it back into your main branch afterwards. And definitely want to encourage anybody that's learning in the process, if you do want to walk through this process even more or need some more assistance, feel free to come and check us out in our community, because we are definitely looking for others to contribute to it. I will have a post at the end of this week to talk a little bit more about our project overall. But yeah, big shout outs to everybody that's interested in working on this project with me. Like I said, it's really at the beginning phase. So if you really want to see what it looks like from the beginning to when we actually get this thing running, please follow along, heart it, like it, or star it on GitHub. And yeah, I'm definitely looking for some contributors so I can get my code approved, and also review other people's code too. So that is it for our demo. And definitely want to say thank you all for joining us. I will give the floor a little bit more time for any questions if there has been, or if there is. I know that I kind of ran through the demo a little bit. I don't know. I just haven't, had to do this type of demo in a while, because sometimes these skills, I just assume that everybody has them. So I do apologize if there's some concepts or topics that you may not have caught or interested in learning a little bit more. We're in the community here to support you, so definitely holler at us. We will continue to support you. Thank you so much for being a part of the Tech Hustle. All right, D-Hustle, I think we're at the end, player. How'd you like the demo?
Feel real good about it.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you. How about you, Raymond? How'd you like it?
Good, very technical. Yeah, it was good.
All right, all right. I know that we had three other members come through. Definitely want to make sure that we give you the space. So if y'all have any questions, feel free to turn on your mic and ask a question. Or we are coming to the end of our April 18th meeting. And definitely look out for our new meeting time coming out in this next week's post.
So same time, same bat place.
For what, next week?
Yeah.
No, I think next week we're gonna, so I'm gonna send out a post. I'm sorry if you missed this earlier, Raymond. And if anybody did miss it, more or less what's gonna happen is tomorrow, I'm narrowing the list down from 6 time slots to 3. And then the team is gonna choose out of the 3, and then that would be our new time for next week.
Okay, all right.
What, you got some objections?
No, sounds good.
It's all right, Raymond. You can say, nah, we gotta keep the same time.
No, I hate this time, so I'm keeping it real.
I think your opinion is well heard, player. Is well heard.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're gonna get it squared away.
All right, cool.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Have a great rest of your week. As always, we really appreciate y'all being a part of this community. We are at the beginning of building this, but I really do see a bright future in front of us. Feel free to reach out. D-Hustle's here to support. Raymond's here to support. I'm here to support. And all your other community members are here too. So definitely let us know. We look forward to chatting up.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Roger that. We'll chat soon, everybody. Have a great weekend.